hi my fans, Brennan.
Hi.
So you're in here from LA and you recently moved to New York. Want to just talk a little bit about that move?
The move, yeah, just
The move.
the epic move. It was pretty crazy because like we came on like the flight from LA was December 31st. So, and it's crazy because like 2 years ago, from Boston to LA, like when we were moving, it was on the same day. You know, so who knew? Like 2 years later, I'd be coming back to the East Coast on the same flight, pretty much. You know, same time during New Year's.
So you went to Berkeley, that's why you were in Boston, right? You were saying?
Yes. Well, I went to Berkeley College of Music, studied performance guitar.
And then you decided to go to LA?
Yes.
What was that decision, or why LA was?
Just always wanted to. Well, I used to go there for like vacation and holiday and stuff. And it just feels like home to me. But also at the time I was doing an internship, and I wanted to play the Sunset Strip in all those clubs. Ever since I was like 14 when I first went there, I was like, you know, this is where I want to play. And so I played all those places, but it was time to, you know, like venture off to bigger things, like to evolve, you know. So coming to New York is really.
So how would you describe your music?
Upbeat, you know, like non-stop.
You tell my fans, because you do an interesting thing, with, you know, combining sampling with guitar.
Yeah, I play to electronic music like dance and dubstep. So what I do is I'll write the electronic track first, and then add guitar over it. But usually, like when I'm doing that, I already have an idea of what I'm gonna do and the sounds in my head, and it's kind of just, you know, like you're taking dictation or something. I just kind of go into my studio and just lay it all down and on to the next one.
So it sounds pretty cool. So you do you come up with the melody first and you sample it?
Yeah, I'll play like, you know, if it's on guitar, I'll have a guitar riff, or if you're, you know, on the synthesizer, come up with something and then record that and then add the beat to it, and then just add extra sounds and different like textures and guitar, and then, you know, usually like put in tons of melodies and riffs over, so it's like it's a full song.
So how do you recreate that when you play live? So you go on with your guitar and then...
Yeah, I have like a DJ setup, and so, you know, all the tracks are, you know, all the ones I'm gonna play, and I just play guitar to those tracks live.
Sounds like a pretty cool mix. So how did you get into that? Like as a kid, you started really young? Or?
When I was 18, I went to go see Tom Lee in a DJ era in Montreal, and Dead Mouse was playing. I didn't know, like he didn't have one in those at the time, because this was like in '07. And I saw all this, like just walked in, I was like 18, and it was just like I've never seen that. You know, I'm used to like a rock show, and you know, they have like the mosh pits, and I'm not like big into that, but you know, you go to this skinny kid, you know, you go in and get like throttled, and it's not something I'm like into, but you know, at the dance clubs, it was just like all the lights, like the massive sound system, like the stage setup, and everyone was just going like crazy, you know, and it was like these booming beats, and I was like, you know, I can do something, you know, with guitar. I can incorporate rock and neoclassical into these beats and make something of it. And so ever since then, that's been my main focus.
And do you see your music kind of like breaking down boundaries? It's kind of interesting, like you're talking about like classic guitar and stuff like that. Or?
Yeah, it's like a lot of people, like when they go see me or they listen to it, they like it. You know, I've never had much like negative feedback. You know, so it's good.
And now you have a new EP coming out, or
new full length.
So
yeah.
why don't you talk about that a little bit?
Okay, well the new one is called Broken Glass. It'll be released April 20th. And
is that going to be like through iTunes, or how can people find it? I mean, do you have a website? Or?
Yeah, I have a website. I have.
Just want to shout that out so they can
find it. It's Facebook. It's just Brennan Dylan.
Okay.
And then my YouTube is Brennan Dylan.
Cool. Do you do Twitter or anything like that?
Yeah, Brennan Dylan. It's
all right. That makes it easy, huh?
Yeah. If you type that into Google, it'll all show up. You know, you get Sonic hits and everything.
Do you find that social media helps you promote yourself?
Oh yeah,
'cause that's a big thing with this show too.
Yeah, no, it definitely does. And even finding, I find like.
And do you do the tweets yourself, or do you have someone do that for you?
I do.
And do you really get interact with your fans? And
Yeah.
that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's tough, you know, because there's just so much to do. There's so many hours in a day, and it's just like.
Yeah. So when do you find the time to do it? Like before you crash, or?
Yeah, or like in the morning, and then I start practicing and just playing, and then or recording, or getting like now it's just getting ready for the show.
And you're going out to Las Vegas, you're saying, right? Let's
Yeah,
talk a little about that.
March 13th.
So you're really bouncing all around.
Yeah, it's crazy, man. Like March 13th, I have a show at Surrender in Las Vegas, and I've never like thought I'd be playing something like that. You know, it's kind of like a dream come true because like I went there with just like a little EP, and the recording and the production wasn't there. But
That's
at the
something that you
time-
mixed yourself?
No, somebody else did.
Okay.
At the time, I thought it was like, oh, this is cool. You know, it's one of those, and you know, shopped it around and just no luck. And then I got in touch with the people at the Palms, and they said, there's no low end. You need to have that, and obviously, you need that in dance music. And stuff.
Sure.
So then I went back to LA and recorded Bullet Ride in a studio, and that for like 2 weeks, and that was like pretty gnarly because like the weather was 110 degrees in the valley, North
Is
Hollywood.
it crazy weather or what?
Yeah, and you're just like there for hours, just dying. But you know, it was a good time.
And you got the low end in there? The
Yeah.
big bass?
Yeah, so that worked, and everything I did with War Parade and Bullet Ride, I took that into like my own productions, and so now I just do it myself.
Yeah, why don't you talk a little bit about that too? You like to mix your music and
Yeah, I just do it on a laptop, you know.
So would you consider yourself part of like the indie movement somewhat, you know, since you're doing like this by yourself? And
Myself, I guess. I never really thought about that, but you know, I guess because it's just I'm just doing it
because
myself.
when you come to New York too, there's a big thing what they call do it yourself, DIY. Yeah, you'll run into it as you live here, especially like out in Brooklyn and stuff.
Yeah. There's a lot of. That's cool. Yeah. That's good.
You know, especially keeping in the Occupy Wall Street obviously started here, so there's a lot of independent type of things. I noticed like you're talking about like doing a lot of stuff yourself.
Yeah. Oh, that's cool.
Yeah.
No, I didn't know about that.
When people making revolution, they can be dancing to your music.
Yeah.
Right?
And it's easy, like when you know what you're gonna do and everything. You don't have like a third party or whatever. It's just one cook, and you know what you're doing and stuff. But before doing any of that, and there was just like no structure with me. It'd just be like, okay, find a 7-minute dance song, because a lot of them are like 7 minutes and up, and just press play, boom. Just wail to the whole thing for 7 minutes, like
On your guitar?
yeah,
Interesting.
riff after riff, and then people liked it, but like there was no like grasp of like people aren't gonna remember that melody because I just played like 10 different melodies in the song, or a bunch of different riffs, and so when I went
And you don't put any words in there, right? Or do you?
There's one with some words on Broken Glass, but like before it was just like non-stop, and now it's like I have a structure of, like you got the intro, chorus, verse, chorus.
Sounds pretty cool.
Yeah, so now it's like I'm on track.
So do you go anywhere after Las Vegas, or is it?
Nothing's booked yet, but going to be working on it. Definitely will be playing somewhere around New York.
Cool. So where would you like to see yourself, let's say, a couple years down the road? Like
A couple of years. On tour. Well, I'd like to see myself on tour now, opening up for a band. Like, I guess like with me, I can do both the electronic scene and then the like guitar.
Yeah, that's kind of interesting.
It's kind of like, it's just kind of how it works. Like, I guess I have like 2 different markets. So like for guitar, people really admire Joe Satriani and Yngwie Malmsteen.
Yeah, he's
guys like
excellent,
that,
dude.
like, so I could potentially go on tour with those guys, or they have a lot of metal festivals in the UK and Scandinavia, and it's like all just shredding metal, and you know, I can do that with like, you could just pick some different electronic tracks that are harder.
It's kind of an interesting mix.
Yeah, and then with the rave scene and like stuff like EDC, you know, and I guess they changed it to Las Vegas.
So do you find crossover when people come to your your crowds? Like
Yeah.
You find like kind of an interesting mix because you got some type of people from the metal, like you're saying, and then
Yeah,
rave.
yeah.
So that must make an interesting vibe.
Yeah, yeah. Like, or people will just that have never heard of me or whatever, that are just there at the time. You know, they go crazy. They're like, "What's this?" Because they've never seen it. You know, like it's usually just think like rock music with a band, or if it's just DJ music, it's just the DJ.
Yeah, it sounds pretty cool. I'm glad you're coming on the show.
Yeah.
So thanks for coming, sitting down with an interview, and
Yeah, thank you for having me. Yeah.
cool, thanks.
Yeah.